All right, so thank you for joining me today in this live meditation, an event that I will be doing every Sunday from now on at 2 o'clock Ecuador time. And last year, I used to do these live, and all I would do would sit in front of the camera, point at my nose 3 times, 3 breaths, and I wouldn't say anything. I would not provide any instruction. I would just essentially sit, present, and that's all I share is my energy. And this year, I want to do something different. And the reason be is when I sit down and I close my eyes and I start focusing on my breath, my brain gets an orgasm. Like it's very easy for me to now access a state of bliss that stays with me throughout the day. But that did not happen overnight. It took years of practice to get there, and I noticed there was a lot of pitfalls along the way and things that I had to adjust. Now, if you think that I'm now capable of accessing these states because I just, let's say, quit my job and I went to this beautiful location and I live in peace and harmony. This is not the case. The fact is, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder in my mid-30s and eventually quit my job. And it was hell. To be honest, the symptoms were atrocious. And it's not like even in the last year, I had a lot of incredibly crushing, difficult challenges into my personal life. But the one thing I did is I stuck with my practice regardless and made sure that I would develop my vessel in a way that I can storm these weathers by remaining calm and still fostering that inner peace. So the reason I'm sharing this, it's not a flex here. It's not like I want to brag, but I want to inspire you that it is possible to achieve a state of inner peace regardless of what our outer circumstances are. And with the times that we live in and how chaotic it is, and especially, with the energy of uncertainty. And I have been there myself. Like we grew up believing, oh, we're gonna get a job, we're gonna get a paycheck, and then we're gonna retire. And that's no longer true. And it's just so much political unrest, like it may be at times overwhelming or feels overwhelming to just be in the world in these times. But by developing a meditation practice can make all of the difference. And the reason I say this is, do we want to go through challenging times on a ship that has a sturdy hull and that can handle rough seas steadily? Or do we just want to float around the canoe? And that's what meditation is to me. It's a practice that allows me to maintain a certain inner strength and steadiness no matter what is happening around me. So, this is the premise of me showing up today. And the reason I want to do them live and not just pre record some kind of videos is I feel there is something about connecting energetically in lifetime, and it allows me to be more intuitive too with the things I'm going to be sharing from week to week by just connecting with what is and see what wants to come out. So now the practice of meditation, and I want to talk about a couple of pitfalls first before we actually engage and start a practice. It's going to be very easy, going to be guiding you through certain things. But first, let's look at certain pitfalls. We live in a society where our mind is always engaged, right? So we spend a lot of time with our brain activated. When we do the dishes, we oftentimes don't just do the dishes. We're preparing a grocery list. We're just multitasking constantly. And what that does, it takes our life force and it's almost drawing it away from our feet, away from the base, and it puts all of this energy in our head constantly. So when we arrive at a time like bedtime, let's say, or at a time where we just want to meditate, now, all of this energy is there pulled in our brain. And what does the brain wants to do with this energy is to create thought because that's what the brain does. So when we first start meditating, of course, the one of the things that we focus on is the breath. And by focusing on the breath, it allows us to relieve some of that excess energy that's in the brain and allow us to be more present. But if we're new to this practice, we can find it very, very difficult to quiet down the mind. And a trick that I have used for myself, and it works like a charm and it's incredibly easy, is to introduce some gibberish into the thought patterns. So let's say you sit down and you meditate, or you're trying to fall asleep at night, and you find your mind is going like it's just firing ideas, like you can't shut it off. Start replacing the scenarios and what you're telling yourself, whatever is playing in your mind, and just say gibberish like blah, 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 blah. And what it does, it creates a micro dissonance into the thought patterns and it just kind of stops the mind to want to engage into another thought because the mind likes cohesion, right? So if a mind wants to have all this energy and it wants to think about something and we start throwing gibberish at it, then it cannot formulate another thought and it stops it in its tracks. So it's almost like a biohack. And once we do that, we can start feeling the energy in our mind as just that, as energy, and start pulling it back into our heart space. So this is something we're going to be visiting today because I find it incredibly powerful, easy also, and it works and it feels great. Like it really, really does. Another thing too is when we start meditating and we start really paying attention and being a witness as to what is going on in our vessel is we can notice sometimes that there's tension in certain areas in our vessel, right? And it's okay to breathe and bring awareness into this tension, the tension in our bodies or even our chakras if we want, and like kind of relax them. And that is helpful over time with this practice. We can start really relaxing our whole vessel, right? And releasing even past trauma and such. And that is fine. I found the pitfall sometime with this is ultimately a practice of meditation is to just really sit down, quieting our mind, and just be witness and allowing to be what it needs to be. And when we start sitting down on our mat or a cushion with an agenda, we may get lost a little bit in the way of like, oh, I'm going to sit down to meditate because I want to achieve this, right? Or I want to achieve that. And we start putting actual expectations on our meditations and essentially just to a reminder that we just want to be present with it, with what is, and knowing that with over time, we're strengthening our vessel And we become more familiar at times with the uncomfortable because let's face it, sitting down and meditating can be incredibly boring. You may be like, well, that was that. And I would highly invite you to actually sit with the boredom. Why? Because boredom is uncomfortable. And meditation, yes, ultimately it can lead you to state of bliss, and I've experienced those. But there are also moments that are uncomfortable, and it's to be able to be as present in our vessel when things are uncomfortable as when they are pleasant is what allow us to start developing a strength and developing the keel and developing a ship that can really stay steady and weather some storms. So if this speaks to you, please join me on this meditation. It's only going to take 20 minutes. We're not going to be here forever. I don't want to overburden you. But before I do, if you would like more engagement from me or work one on one with me, whether it's to go deeper into your meditation practice, work through some blockages, or perhaps you have psychic awareness and you want to explore that further or have questions, I do offer metaphysical services and everything is donation based, meaning you only pay what feels right for you after our time together, and I feel great with that. It's working well for me, and I wanna. That's what feels. Yeah, that's what feels in alignment for me, and I wanna keep on doing so. So now here we are. If you have not done so, the first thing we're going to explore is our posture. I don't recommend sitting directly on the floor. I am personally sitting on a cushion, so my hips are slightly higher than the ground and keeping the spine straight, but we don't want to force it, right? We just want to be relaxed in our body. And if sitting cross-legged is not comfortable for you, please sit in a chair. We don't want to be make it more painful than it has to be. As long as you have a sturdy contact, your feet are flat on the earth and your spine is straight so the energy can flow properly. This is all that's needed. Your hands, you can put flat down on your knees, or perhaps, again, find a comfortable position. To me, for some reason, I like this mudra. This is what feels the more natural to me. And I do it with my eyes closed, but please listen to your own intuition. If you feel you would rather have your eyes open, do that. But if you're comfortable with your eyes closed, do that. You are the master of your own vessels here. I can only bring awareness to certain things, but please feel free to listen to your own inner guidance. Now, throughout this exercise, I may start speaking in light language. Just know that I'm just speaking frequencies. I'm not doing anything to your energetic vessel or no such thing. It's just like listening to the radio. You pick different song and that's it. So as I do so, if it comes to that, just notice how it feels inside of your vessel, and that is all. But now that you have your position, and hopefully you're sitting and quiet, we're gonna start with a nice deep breath. Inhale, exhale. Again, inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. And as we are allowing our breath to come in and out naturally, let's take a moment to witness how we feel in our body, bringing our awareness, starting with our feet, feeling ourselves and our feet and our ankles, and just notice how we feel in those spaces, going up to our calves while we're still gently breathing, our knees, our legs, our hips, our belly, moving up to our stomach and our back, moving up to our lungs and our heart, and our shoulders, and the tip of our fingers, our hands, our wrists, our forearms and our elbows, our arms, back to our shoulder, now our throat, our chins, our lips, our cheeks, and our nose, our eyes, our foreheads, and the top of our head. Inhale, exhale. And just again, allowing ourselves to feel our body. And doing another body check, but this time a little faster. On your own, starting with the toes, moving to the legs and the hips and the torso, and the arms and the throat and the face and the top of the head. Inhale, exhale. And one more time, scanning our toes, our feet, ankles, knees, legs, hips, lower back, stomach, heart, lungs, arms, shoulders, throat, face, and the top of our head. Inhale, exhale. And now we're just going to bring our awareness into our breath. Now we'll be quiet for a little bit. Allow yourself to be. As we are breathing in and out, and just notice how relaxed we feel in our vessel and breathing in peace. Inhale, and feeling that peace entering every single cell of our being. And exhale, inhale, exhale. Now, the next inhale, I want you to picture your breath traveling all the way down the spine. And as you inhale, feeling yourself inhaling peace and taking it all the way down through your spine into your vessel. Inhale, exhale. Two more times. Inhaling peace, traveling all the way down the spine, activating every single cells in our body. Exhale. One more time. Inhaling peace and allowing this peace to travel all the way down our spine and activating every single cells in our body. Exhale. And noticing how we feel in our vessel and just be witness, allowing every single cells in our being to be happy. You can keep breathing inner peace on your own if you like. Now, slowly bring your awareness to your vessel, slowly wiggling your toes if you're sitting cross-legged, sensations in your fingers, moving the shoulder a little bit, couple of rolls. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed this meditation, and please feel free to comment or ask me any questions if you like. I will be back here with you again next Sunday for another meditative exploration. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching. My name is Isabel. Bye.